Good evening. Today is February 22nd. It is 5:13. I'd like to call the meeting of the Board of Assessment Appeals to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Hit it, Elaine.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. And may God bless the United States of America. We certainly need. Okay. All righty, so, approval of minutes of December 5th, 2023, our BAA organizational meeting. Has everyone had a chance to look at those minutes? Yes. Any changes, corrections, suggestions?
Yes, on the dates that we approved for 2024, whatever the item number was, they were just typed in the minutes as all being 2023,
and
they need to be changed to 2024.
Okay.
So February 22nd, which is today, September 10, and December 4. So I think it's just a typo.
Okay.
So I'll ask Kathy to fix those three.
Is she still, she's not, you mean Kathy?
Kathy Grandy, or Kathy Grandy. She did the minutes, so she should probably have the Word document so she can correct it and submit it.
Yeah, if you can, I don't know where she is, so if we can find her.
Through email. Thanks.
We usually, she emails them, so I probably have a copy of the email.
Okay, and I have her email, so I'm sure we all do. Okay, that'll be fine. If she can fix that, that'll be great. Okay. So, we have a special guest this evening, Ross.
Are we going to approve them? Do we vote?
Oh, I thought.
Does it matter?
We can approve them. All in favor of approving the minutes? Let's go back. The December minutes of 2023. Unanimous. They're approved. Next. Report from the assessor on the upcoming valuation and site index issues. Ross Murray is here with us this evening. We've asked him to come and join us and give us any information he has about the upcoming revale process.
Yep, the RFP for the company to perform the revale was issued a couple of weeks ago. It was initially scheduled to close on the 26th, next Tuesday, I think. We today decided to extend that. We've had some questions from a vendor. I actually met with a vendor today with purchasing. They have quite a few questions, so the questions need to get posted. And the other vendors need to have an opportunity to review that information that's been put out. So we're probably going to extend it by a week or so, and we'll get those back.
Excuse me, is this companies other than Vision Appraisal?
Well, yeah, you issue the RFP, and then any company can bid on the job.
I see. So it's that process every 5 years. It's not just, but it ends up always being Vision Appraisal who wins the bid? No.
Last time Municipal Valuations did it.
Oh, okay.
Before that it was Vision. Before that it was Municipal Valuations, and I think several before that were the last were Vision.
I was going to ask you, are you seeing any new companies that we haven't seen before?
The reality is there's 4 major companies in the state that do revaluations. Okay. You've got Vision, you've got Municipal Valuations, you have Tyler, and you have Equality. Equality typically only bids on towns that use their software. They have their Equality is part of Quality Data. Quality Data does our admin systems, the assessor administration, the tax collection system, our personal property module, and then they have a CAMA system comparable to Vision. So they typically only bid on towns that have their product.
I see. Okay.
So I fully expect those 3 to bid. There was John Ryan, who was smaller company. So I think he is retired. So I don't think we'll be seeing a bid from them. But we sent it to the list. There's a list of approved Connecticut revaluation companies kept by OPM, and we send the RFP out to everybody on the list.
Okay. So in Fairfield we use Vision for our tax records and we wanna look up something, we go to BGSI, Fairfield. Do they do a lot of them in the state of Connecticut?
Vision is the predominant
For most of the
provider
towns?
of
Oh, yeah.
Or is it just
software in the state.
lower like Fairfield County, or no, most of the?
They have a majority of the state.
Okay.
Yeah, Tyler has their own software, maybe 10. Quality probably has 15 or so, or 15 to 20 accounts. There may be another software or two vendor out there that have, small numbers, but Vision's probably got, 100.
Oh,
And
that's a big
they are,
chunk of 169.
Yeah.
they operate throughout the East Coast and into the Midwest.
Oh, I didn't
So
know that.
Vision's big. I mean, Vision is not a local Connecticut company. They're big in Connecticut and Massachusetts. I think Florida they're big in, and for some reason like Michigan or one of the Midwest states, they've got quite a few accounts. And I think they do New York City.
Oh, wow.
So it's a
I had no idea.
well-developed piece of software.
So when do you actually start doing the work? Do you have like a start date?
After the reval, after the RFP closes, we'll go through the selection process, maybe April or so.
Okay.
That's when we kind of hope to get started. It has changed from my original plan, which was that we would be doing knock-on-door inspections. When I have talked to other towns and looked at their data, their entry rate is about 5%.
Not
Overall.
surprised.
So to me, there's not a lot of benefit in sending people out to knock on doors and spending
Expensive.
the cost that it takes to do two visits. Because you usually don't do just one knock, you do two. You go once at any time and the second time in the evening or a Saturday. So I mean, it's expensive, and if you're only getting into 5% of the houses, there's really not a lot of benefit.
Yeah.
So I'm bringing on technology to help with that, and we'll do data mailers. So under Connecticut statutes, you can use a data mailer, and if you receive it back and you have a satisfactory quality control program, that satisfies the data verification component. If they don't return a data mailer, we do have to go knock on the door. So we will start data mailers probably April or May. Probably there'll be some time setting things up, and then data mailers will start, and we'll start early. My original intent when we were knocking on doors was to break the town up into 3 or 4 sections and do them starting in April and carry that all the way through to 25. That would have given us a longer amount of time to process all that information that comes back, but that's changed a bit. So technology-wise, we have, in 2020, we had an EagleView flight, and that provided oblique imagery. That is happening again this spring, and we're also, along with that, using a product called Sketch Verification. They will take our sketch from Vision and compare it to the ortho image, the vertical aerial image, and produce a list of discrepancies. So we will, through technology, verify the footprint of the property, and it will look for outbuildings.
I'm just curious, is that done automatically through,
I
or is
believe
that
it's
like
automatic.
manually that they
I
have
believe
to compare the two?
It's done. It's automatic. It's done
Wow.
through software. I don't. Everybody throws AI around now. I don't think this is AI. I think this is just software programming that will match that sketch up to the property, and then we'll have a set. We'll have some number of properties that have a discrepancy, and we'll decide if we have to go and inspect that property. We use a product, we've been using it for about 2 years now, called Nearmap. Nearmap provides aerial imagery twice a year. In the spring, they do ortho, straight down, and oblique. And then in the fall, they do vertical imagery. And so we get that in about September, October, which is perfect for our Grambling estate. And then the spring one is leaves off. So leaves off is what we like best because you can see things much better. So we have a subscription to that, and that comes about twice a year. The last one I'm looking at, the RFP I'm working on now, is for street level images, but instead of just a single shot, which used to be done by an individual walking around taking pictures, this will be done by I use the phrase Google car. So it's cameras mounted up on top of the car. They refer to this as 360-degree imagery. So it'll shoot 360 degrees around the car and 180 degrees vertically. And it takes pictures every 16 meters, or 16 feet down the road. So you can have multiple images around a house. It also includes, as well as the other aerials, LiDAR. And LiDAR gives you the ability to measure. So we will have the ability to measure from either the aerials and from the street level photos.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
And the quality level for the street level, I believe, is referred to as sub 1 inch. So each pixel will represent less than an inch of image. The aerials are 3 inch.
Technology has certainly gone.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah, it really
So
is.
IAAO, our international association, has revised their standards to, if you have aerial, oblique, and high quality street level imageries, you have a building permit review process in place, you do not need to knock on the door. That's their determination. And so now the international standard allows you to do it that way. Our statutes have not caught up. So we still have to go out to anybody who doesn't return a data mailer. So we will have some good data to review in-house.
Is the data mailer, are they going to fill it out by hand, like you will have to?
No, the data
each one, or
mailer
how does it
will,
work?
I'll end up working with the vendor, but more than likely it will be a document that says, here's what we have. It doesn't say you fill it out, it will say, here's what you have.
Huh.
You have 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, you got an extra fixture, you've got 7 rooms, and whatever other info, but that will be what we'll use to verify. It's possible to put the sketch on there. It's possible to put the photo on there. Don't know if we'll do that. The sketch, the coding on a sketch is hard for the public to understand.
Well, yeah.
EAS, FUS,
Yeah.
FOP, and that just causes confusion. So
No.
we probably won't put a sketch on.
No, don't.
We'll have other ways to
Confuses
verify
me.
the sketch.
I'm confused.
Never mind. Yeah.
So that's where we're at.
And they'll stamp it and send it, it'll be self-addressed stamped, and they have to
I don't know,
return
we
it?
haven't gotten that far yet.
Okay. I'm just thinking about, making sure that you get the majority of them back from the public, so you don't have to go out and knock on all those doors.
Well, I think if you say,
Communication, right?
We'll probably
have
put it on there. If
we
you
have
don't
to make
return
a
this,
visit
we
to
will
you unless you do it. I think that would be enough to make
that-
me
that's
want
why
to
I
do
put it
out.
on there. If you don't return this, we will be visiting your home.
That's all I need.
In bold.
Yeah, and we'll,
Multiple times.
starting as early as we are,
Yeah,
we'll have the
multiple
opportunity to do multiple rounds.
You can say multiple times.
Yeah.
And I know that you don't have any control over this, but I'm hoping that whoever the company is has employees that go out to the homes, not looking like they just got out of prison.
Well, we don't.
No, because the reason.
How would one qualify that?
Well, just,
Is it what's this, an
I'm not
FRSB?
going to get into details what I've seen.
I'm not gonna defend it, but I will give you the reality, is to measure and listing people, that is the lowest level job in a reval company, and it's the grunt work. So, you're not,
Yeah.
it's just, you're not getting the best people.
We're not getting the upper crust.
Not a high-paid job.
It's not a high paid job, so it's.
Yeah.
They still should specify attire.
Yeah, they should. And
I
you know why?
believe there was a dress code comment in the RFP. I'm not sure,
There you
because
go.
I had to check with HR.
You have to be careful.
What that is.
Orange jumpsuit.
What is,
Black and white straight.
what is the proper dress code, what can we tell them?
That can be very subjective.
Yeah, so, there's a can of worms.
So maybe pants pulled up to the waist, I don't really wanna see anybody's shorts when they come to the door. Maybe they took a bath the day before would be nice and comb their hair,
I've never seen
that'd be
anyone.
okay. Well,
I've never seen anyone.
one of the realtors, not gonna say who it is, that I used to work with, told me that she didn't let the guy in because he looked like he was like trying to break in.
In this
Kind of
day and
person.
age, honestly,
Like, I wasn't
a lot
letting
of people are afraid to let.
Yeah, that is,
So hopefully
actually,
that'll
it
work.
is, yeah, why would you believe anyone?
Right,
Yeah, so, that's
Think
why I
it's
said,
like
the better you look,
an intruder.
the more likely you have of
Pretending
getting
to
in the
be.
door, so, just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Okay.
they are required, I'm just assuming they're required to have some kind of,
Yeah, they
Clear
are.
identity.
We usually
Yeah, I
send them out
know,
with a
but-
letter.
but I mean,
We
even
notify
people
the
fake
police
it
department
and
of who they are, what their
wear
car is.
give
GPS
anyone any
like uniforms and stuff and pretend to be something.
Yeah, so
else.
we're
Well, I don't have to worry about it,
Happens all the
because
time.
I don't want them in the house, I'll just do the mail.
Oh,
Right.
I'm not gonna worry about that, so,
Mm.
I'm just wondering.
And we'll go with the lowest bid? Is that
No.
what we're required to do?
Yeah.
We're not required to go with the lowest bid, we're gonna go with the best bid,
good.
which is price is a
Highest and
component.
best, lowest and best.
But it's not the sole
Best
component.
term.
That's
It's the
not
best,
fair.
it's the best overall. I mean,
Mhm.
if you get a weak response and they got a low price, it's maybe not the one you wanna go with.
I
You know,
agree.
so
I didn't
it
know
is-
if you were
it is
required
not-
to.
That would be
we're
nice,
not
yeah,
required-
I would
We're
like
not
that.
required to go with the low bid.
I would imagine it would be also helpful to have the company be, highly responsive to, your people's questions and like making themselves available to help
Yeah,
after the data,
Well, they're gonna do the informal hearings, right? I mean, that's who runs the informal hearings is the reval company. Remember,
Yeah.
you can go and meet with the reval company in December, January.
I don't know,
Oh.
I don't know what every company's like, I've never dealt with them
This one
personally,
did too, right?
but,
Yeah.
I've
And
had
we
people
did
complain about
They
that,
did it
that
with
they,
COVID, they had to do it over Zoom.
Yeah.
they weren't all that, it's not like the appraiser himself, they have a group of people that work for them,
yeah, but
that do it, and it wasn't all that great, so.
sure, I mean, the person you meet with is typically there to gather some information. They, with the number of informal appeals they have, they cannot staff it with, principal members, or the project manager can't do them all, so there's just too many. So they have to have people that, a lot of times it's the measure and listing people that do it. So they gather that information, and then it's, the project manager or someone he designates or she designates would review the change.
I'm sure they'll try to do their best. I'm just hoping that this time we don't get a company that has a strip club on the side. It's kind of nice to not have to know that that's who's coming to people's houses. Or should I say a gentleman's club? I should be polite and say a gentleman's club, but we really don't need I don't anyway, I'm not too happy about that, but that's just me. So. Okay, any other information about that topic?
We are doing extensive review of grading and of depreciation codes, neighborhoods, there's certain neighborhoods I've identified that, need to be, closely looked at, so that's in there. I did I put together a plain language, the expectations, RFP kind of formally written, said, here's what.
Oh, okay.
Here's what we're looking for. This is, when you read this is what, this is what it means, attaching documents and, final review will be, it will be driven. They will drive the whole town once the final values are nearly complete. And that means you drive down a street with the cards or with a laptop and you look at each and every house quickly, and the value that it's produced. And, when you're driving a street, you can quickly tell if one is out of whack.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of mixed bag streets in our town.
A lot.
Well, not a mixed bag, but,
Well, they're getting more and more because
Mine's a mixed bag.
it's when you find the outlier, or the house that's maybe, you
And
know,
I'm saying there's a
coded
lot of
wrong,
streets
that you don't pick
like
up.
that.
Yeah.
With all the new construction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will they stick a house anywhere? Yeah.
Will you break up, what was it, wasn't there one like Fairfield Woods neighborhood or something that's like 3,000 homes in it?
We can't tell you what we're gonna do yet.
Those, I feel like there was a couple of them there that were so big, right, that it was really difficult to get the land values even
Yeah,
close.
but I'll let you know that if you look around the country, and you look at, say, Florida as an example, Fairfield would be one neighborhood. You know, they're not dealing with 20,000 properties, they're dealing with 300,000. So, you know, this is, you know, the software is really built to handle hundreds of thousands of properties. And, you know, what we're doing is so fine scale compared to what goes on in the rest of the country. It's, you know, so, you know, a 3,000, we think it sounds large, but in reality, it's not a big neighborhood. But I don't know. It may get broken up, it may not.
So my question is, when it comes to placing the value, are you responsible for that, or is it you and the other company? Just you?
I am ultimately responsible for it.
But who, yes, ultimately responsible, but in the process, who has input into those values? Just you or the reval company too? In a way where, like,
Both.
both.
I mean, I spent days, you know, I had, the way we set it up is that Munival remoted into our network. And so they were working on the same system I was working on. So we have a separate database for the reval. And we were both had access to that. So I would be in there running different reports, looking at the data. I would make changes myself. I try not to make huge changes because I don't want to step on their work, but I certainly would made adjustments and said, hey, and I'm using this is not a real thing, it's just a random, I changed the base rate on colonials. It helped the, you know, the PRD and the COD in these areas, now this neighborhood's off, you know what I mean? So, you know, we constantly go back and forth. I mean, that's how I do it. I go back and forth with them and I try things to see, you know, if I see something I don't like and I want some numbers to improve, the statistical numbers to improve, I'll see if I can find a way to do that.
Okay. Because what some of us found, I don't want to speak for everybody, but what some of us found was when we're going through the appeals and things, and you look online, some of the neighborhoods just seem out of whack as far as value goes. And it's usually the neighborhoods that are bigger, like maybe the Fairfield Woods neighborhood. You know, it's just like, wait a minute, this, you know, on Jefferson Street, which is, you might as well live in another town, can't possibly be at the same value as, say, you know, I don't know which street, I'll just pick a street, say, you know, Morehouse Highway, or Ferncliff, those, or off Fairfield Woods Road. So I think somehow, I think some of them got stretched a little too far. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
And that's just my opinion, I shouldn't say that, it's that when I look at what, you know, the houses are selling every day, it's what I do for a living. When I look at that and I say, you know what, this isn't right. These houses do not sell for the same prices that these do. There's a difference, and a difference enough where somebody would want to appeal if they were smart enough.
And as I said, these neighborhoods are not, we did not create them last reval. They were in place, and they've, as far as I can tell, they were probably in place since the 90s when the vision first came into the system.
Yeah.
We did change them. We altered, we added 4, so we split up 4. But that's pretty much the extent of what happened. The rest of them have been in place for decades.
Yeah, and everything's changed a lot since those were put in place.
Right, and neighborhoods are dynamic. The boundary lines don't necessarily stay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sometimes they will, you know, if you've got a hard feature, you know, it's something, it may not cross over. But, you know, if you've got a very desirable neighborhood, and, you know, that could start stretching as people want to be there, but they'll accept being closer, but they'll pay more to be close, then it could
So how many neighborhoods do we have now?
23, which is kind of a lot.
But it is a lot.
It is a lot.
Yeah.
But, you know, we do have some smaller ones, like, you know, Fairfield Beach Road is fairly small, it's like 300 parcels. You know, Sasko Hill, Southport, but they are very distinct.
Pine Creek, I think, is, so.
You know, they're very distinct, so, you know.
Yeah, well, we looked at them all.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we took a look at them, yeah.
We spent a lot of time looking at the neighborhoods and on the map, but
Yeah, and
No, she was
there's,
interesting.
it was interesting.
there's historical coding that's in the system that needs to get looked at and maybe alter the way we handle it.
I couldn't the one that I think of that I think I'm more sensitive to is because I live in the university area, is the university and north of, or east of North Benson, wherever that neighborhood is. Why did that get split up? That was one big neighborhood. And then they split it out, and that it looks to me, I could be wrong, but it looks to me that east of North Benson land value is less. Something's less, the number, the neighborhood code.
Yeah, because the neighborhood drives is the main driver of the adjustment to the baseline value.
But there's no difference. In fact, they have some nicer neighborhoods than the side I live on. So I don't understand why they're different.
Yeah, I don't have I don't even know if I recall talking about it specifically. I'm sure we did, but I don't recall what it was. That was a while ago, and there was a lot going on.
Okay.
How about this, I mean, the market is significantly higher than 20, am I
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So we're gonna get slammed, no matter
No,
what.
no,
People's
no,
values,
so
don't you
right
think
now-
people's values are gonna go up like?
They are.
Average?
If we
across
did
the
a
board?
reval today,
Yeah, but they're not gonna find comps.
Well,
But
that doesn't
We
matter, because they're gonna come
we
in
had-
anyway, because they go up, so that's why.
And then we'll just.
Right, we have,
You
so
know,
I mean, my point was sort of that if we can start to provide the sales data early in the process, so that people understand, here's the sales, this is what we're tracking, this is how the valuation is happening, you know, it's a public, right? We have a list of the sales that you're tracking to drive the models. Those people that use SPSS and whatever statistical programs to bring all their stuff in here, that love the data, if we educate them more ahead of time about how this works, then perhaps they will actually come in with the comps, as opposed to saying, I'm up by 20%, which is what happens, like, oh my God, you know, and my neighbor.
How are you gonna educate them?
Yeah, when would we? We don't see them until they come with the
Well,
stuff.
hopefully, like we talked about potentially doing, you know, I said on the Harwich, there's, you know, the assessor and the chair of the board or whatever, do a little public thing. This is how it works, and this is the data that's available, and
We
this is
did
how
that
you
for the
read-
Fairfield Board of
Right,
Realtors,
this
and they
is
loved it.
Yeah, they
how
loved
you read your
it.
field card, this is how we do the
Video it.
data, because
Put it on the web.
people aren't educated enough, but it's not rocket science, and they try to make it rocket science by doing all kinds of math
Exhaustive,
gymnastics,
yeah.
when it's just like,
Right,
just
but-
go to the database and find 3 houses in your neighborhood that are like yours and look at yours, and if you're close, then, you know, then go away, and if
and
you're off.
we've talked about it, you know,
I do believe
extensively,
there's ways to
and
do it.
people will go for the simple analysis, which is square foot.
That's right.
My square foot is much more than them. Well, your house is smaller. You picked all the bigger houses. And that's, you know, I think I can certainly talk about it again, but we've talked about how the square foot of land and building is not linear.
Yeah.
You know, smaller is going to have a higher per square foot than larger in most cases.
Yeah.
Right.
But I will say though, I don't want, excuse me, go ahead.
I was going to say, in 2020, I don't think we had the access to the public, like through the newsletter and the mailing list and everything, you know, to be able to educate the public
It
enough.
got a little crazy with COVID.
And COVID, right?
It got a little-
Just a little.
Oh,
It
yeah,
got
but
a
this
little-
time around, and so most of the message they got was, if you don't like what you have, come in. If you don't like what you have, appeal. And so we got 650 people coming in, where instead, if the message was, you know, if we can reach people with a better message than just come appeal, It's, understand and just
Yeah, we-
have an
we'll work on
opportunity to
it.
educate. And I think,
Yeah.
as
I
a
don't
board,
disagree.
we can do that, or as a
Yeah.
town,
Yeah.
And maybe part of that could be some of the information about the neighborhoods, because a lot of the people who came, we had a big group from Fairfield Beach area, Fairfield Beach Road, and they were livid because of the way it was split up.
Well, you had a big group in large part because you have a very active neighborhood association.
Yeah,
And you had a few people that were driving everybody in.
yeah, but I would have done the same thing, to be honest.
But quite frankly, that neighborhood was good. The values in
I
that
don't-
neighborhood were
I
solid.
disagree, because I don't see how this house right here, on this piece of property, this way, is worth more, if they're pretty much identical, to this one. Just because we decided that this line right here was what makes a difference.
I don't know what you're,
What I'm saying is, the two houses right next door, that what they were saying, and they were right, is, we're living on the same street. Why are we in different neighborhoods? Why are they
Fairfield
different
Beach
values?
Road is one neighborhood.
no, it was the FBR, it was the 7, the 8, remember, they're divided different sections of the road.
Right, you got different things
That
in the road.
goes, whatever that other code is over
Yeah.
to the right.
Are you referring to the one where the guy had access to he had dedicated easement right to the beach?
No,
Because there was that one that, yeah, it looked different, but when you realize that that particular property has a strip of land right to the beach, he has beach access, superior beach access than most everyone else.
Oh, that was the guy on the creek side?
He was on the creek
Yeah,
side.
yeah, I remember
there were a
that.
couple of people that came in
I mean,
with
that was one, and that's,
No, and what I was saying was that the way people interpreted was, I'm here, you're right next door, properties touch. But the way the lines were drawn, where the cutoff was, this guy's being charged at one rate, and this one's being charged at another rate. Maybe I didn't say that right, but they're not using the same. It's like, well, but the properties look the same. They have the same amount of beachfront. Every house is a little bit different, but that's what the biggest complaint was, like, why am I in a different
but I
neighborhood?
didn't see that complaint.
You weren't sitting in
maybe-
here.
Yeah.
But that's one, that's not the whole
No,
beach.
that wasn't one, it wasn't the whole beach, but it was a lot of them.
Most of
Complaining
it
that
was,
they should be
most of the
one
beach was
street,
square
one
footage.
neighborhood.
And a lot of it was the creekside people that didn't like the change in value. That's where I saw a lot of it.
Well, it was also the amount of beachfront they had.
Right.
too. That was a big factor.
Well, we don't do a footage calc, which can be done.
What can't?
Well, one method of valuing land is what's referred to as front footage.
Mhm.
So typically,
Appraisers use that,
no,
human appraisers.
no,
No,
they
don't.
can. It's a technique.
Yeah,
Some do apply front footage, but, you've got to have the data to do that.
yeah.
So yeah, you can apply, Vision has front footage in it. You could develop a table for front footage and apply it
To the land value.
to the land value. Yep. So yeah, but in general, the beach houses are pretty similar. You do have a couple that are large, and you have a couple that are small, but in general, they're pretty close. Within reason. They're rectangles. Not all, but they're all,
No. So yes and no. Yes and no.
We also had the lots on the creek side, right, the parking, and whether they had accessory dwellings on them, that they could
Right,
have
so you
a
have-
second structure, whether it was a buildable lot or not, that whole, and that was all redone.
There's three different
so
types
that
of
created-
creekside property. You've got vacant, can't be built on. You've got garage that can't be expanded or turned into an accessory unit, and then you have ones that have accessory units on them. That's what you have over there. So you've got those three different types. And if you have a building, even if it's dilapidated, you can renovate that and turn it into an accessory unit. If you don't, you probably can't. So there's a even though you could have two creekside lots that are side by side, if one has a dilapidated house, accessory unit, and the other one doesn't, that one with a dilapidated house has much more value because they can renovate that and turn it into a accessory unit, they could rent it or have families stay there or whatever they want.
We saw some of that.
There's some of those out
And
there.
those got corrected in the last reval, so you see a property
Well,
worth
matters,
$400,000.
because they'll just let everybody build on every little piece of spec stand there is. So at some point in the future, you won't have to worry about it. Zoning will just change all the rules like they always do. We'll have all kinds of accessory apartments on that side of the street. Remember I said it today, you'll see it. They'll start letting people build everywhere. Because after all, we want to be a home to everyone, so that means we build everywhere.
Pretty nice Taj garages down there, too.
Yep.
Amazing.
Anyway, any other questions for us before we move on to the next piece of this?
What is the next piece? I don't have-
The next piece is site index issues and portions of the beach area. Kathleen, you wanted to talk about that?
So, yeah, so those are, I sent him kind of a list, a couple questions. I know I didn't give you enough heads up on it.
Not today. Today was swamped today.
Yeah, so it was mostly how many, I don't know if you have any idea, how many properties? We had that issue, right, that was an issue with the last reval, where the new neighborhood, whatever the neighborhood code was 65, was created, and then the BPs were added, and all the site indexes are supposed to go to 6. And so Mike, maybe it was in the test database, he did all the data and calculated all the land values as if all those properties had a site index of 6.
There's no test database.
Or wherever he ran the numbers to create the land value.
It's essentially a live data. It's a live data. It's a reval database, and it becomes the live database once we go forward with the reval. So it's not like it goes from here to there. It's, we keep 2 parallel databases. So if the reval, for whatever reason, doesn't happen, we have data to go forward with, updated data to go forward. It's a lot of work to keep 2 of them. But the other one, if you go forward, that's it. It's not.
And so that's what you did, you went.
It's not any different. No one's working anywhere else other than right there.
So the way he explained it was that he did all the land calculations based on the fact that that whole neighborhood would be a 6.
Yeah, I recall talking about that, but I don't recall him saying that.
They didn't all get changed. Yeah, he
Yeah,
said
I
it in
don't-
an email. So, but at any rate, so what ended up happening is that, what is the difference between the site index of 5 and 6? 20% on the land value, or 10%?
It's 20 or 30.
20, it's a
20 or 30, yeah.
it's a significant land value. So there is several, I don't know how many, if you haven't done a count of it, but it could be like 30 or 40 properties down in the beach area where the land values are like 100,000 lower than they're supposed to be. So they're all under. So it's trying to figure out, why did that happen? How many of them are there? And, going into the next reval, are they all going to become 6s so that they're fixed?
Site index
Or are you going
will
to put it
likely
all
go
back to,
away.
are you going to put them all back to 5?
Likely site index will completely go away.
But whatever
I
happens.
want to have, my preference would be, and this will be something I have to work with the reval company, is that we use the special calc to make all the adjustments. We're not big enough to have to use all these different adjustment methods. We should be able to use neighborhood to adjust for the larger area, and a special calc to adjust for differences for that property within a neighborhood. So sometimes you get little sub-neighborhoods, you get a little, street or whatever that suddenly has much nicer homes.
Like Wind Park is a special calc.
Yeah, so you get, maybe that's got to have its own special calc, but instead of using a site index, use it as special calc. It's better displayed on the card. It's simpler for everyone to understand. And then
I like that.
the final would be condition. And a condition adjustment would be something that's really specific to that property.
Yeah,
And that takes this percentage off.
that sounds
Or
very
you
good.
could add with special,
Or add with it.
condition, but
Mhm.
but really kind of simplify where adjustments are being made, so it's not, site index, and I've never been in a town that used site index.
We
Everything
come
was
across
always
them every now and then,
Yeah,
and
so
people
they're-
will come
they're-
in and we'll see a 6 on their card, and we're like, oh, well, that's why
There's-
the neighbor, there's so much difference, because it adds a significant,
Yeah,
it's a
we have 1 through
significant
9
difference in the
in
land
site
value.
index, and I think all but one of those numbers is used somewhere in town.
And just as an aside, because I knew this was gonna come up again, because it's on the agenda, I went and looked at, I took Roland Road. I went through the street, I went through the map to see where the houses were located. I have to say that whether or not it was a judgment, an error, I don't know what it is, but if they left it, when they left them a 5, I think that was the correct judgment. The site index for a house that's on the corner of the Old Post Road and Roland Road should not be the same as a house that's really close to the beach. The different sites, and that site is more valuable.
But there's a special
It's
count
special count,
that
BP 3 and
handles
4.
the distance from the water.
Well, it's wrong. If that was supposed to be 6, then that special calc is wrong. Because if I was gonna buy a house, and the houses are, go online, the houses are priced that way. A house up here is not gonna be the same price as a house over here with water views, or really walk to the water.
But that was handled. That was,
No, I'm saying it didn't happen, because they left those 5s. They didn't make them 6s, so.
No, but the ones close to the water had a BP 2, which was a higher special calc than BP 3 and 4.
Yes, we looked at that.
So that's the special calc we were just talking
That's
about.
what you do.
That's how
That's
you adjusted it.
It's crazy. Nobody understands it. It makes it really difficult for the homeowners, and I don't think most of us really. Do you understand that?
No.
Because I don't. Do you?
but would you leave them all the same?
What do you mean they're all the same?
Would you have all the land values the same?
All the way up to the top of the street?
Yeah.
No.
That's what the
Then how
special
would you
calc.
adjust for that?
I don't know. I'd have to see what the sales
Special
were.
calc.
Where does that special calc come from? We just pull that out of the air?
You have to develop it. But you just said you wouldn't leave them the same.
I wouldn't leave this and this the same.
Right.
No.
But then, how do you make that adjustment? And the answer is
So you're telling me that they're adjusted.
you
Somehow they're
use
adjusted.
right. I'm saying you use a special calc to
Okay.
make that, to account for those differences between one end and the other.
Okay, so I know we're getting rid of it, but what about the site index?
No, we're not
That's it.
getting rid of the special calc.
No, I meant, that's not what I'm saying. We're getting rid of
That's another tool that you can use to adjust for.
So you have the special calc to make those values different, right?
That's what I'm saying, there's too many.
He did both, that's the problem.
How do you know
Mike-
that we don't?
Well, because it was in the email, because I found it when we found it during the first,
And you can look
during the
on a field
revale.
card,
It
it's
came
printed
right
on a
up,
field card.
because the two properties, literally on the corner of Roland Road, right across from each other, same vintage, same everything, $120,000 difference land values. And the guys are bringing them in, they're like, how come my neighbor, like, literally there? And it was because he had a 6 and the other one had a 5. And the BPs were added, I don't know if that makes sense, or the BP, 1, 2, 3, and 4, so a BP 1 is going to make the land worth more money than a BP 4. So Mike went and put BP 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the properties when they were getting away from the water. But the way it used to be done was that properties near the water had a 6, and properties away from the water had a 5. So, but when he put the 4, 3, 2, 1 on, he should have made the site indexes all the same, and that was his intention, was to either make them all, whatever, all 6s or all 5s, so that the BPs were controlling the distance, the land value getting less and less as you get away from the water.
But
But
when
he
you
didn't do that.
make all the site index the same, that doesn't change the value?
Yes, it does.
It does, but
So?
he should, because he was going to ignore it, and he was going to use the BPs to control the distance from the water.
And that's kind of what I'm saying. He was going to make them 6s, you're saying.
He was supposed to, because he already adjusted for the distance from the water by putting a BP 4 on it, which
And then-
meant I'm away from the water. So that already brought
What
the
is the
person
difference?
down.
So the 5 and the 6, what was the difference then?
$100,000.
Never mind in money, what does it mean?
It's 20 or 30%.
Not that. If this is a 6, why? Is it because it's closer to the water?
Originally, that's when Don Ross set it up way back when. He put 6s on the ones near the water and 5s on the one away from the water. There was no BP 1, 2, 3, 4. That's
So
how
then changing
Don
the
Ross
BP,
did it.
then that made no
They
difference.
added
in
the
site index?
BPs, they should have gotten rid of the site indexes.
But they
That's
did.
what They did it.
But it's not that you should get rid of the site index, it's just something you have to account for. You have to decide whether that's needed in producing your results or not.
I guess
It's
what
not
I'm
a right or wrong.
But somehow the math was done, and they should have been all, he used the BPs to figure out the land values, and he forgot about the site index part. That's basically what happened. So when he set his values for the BPs, he was assuming there was nothing else that was affecting the land value, but in fact, there was 6s and 5s that were affecting the land value. So those people who got a BP4 adjustment for being away from the water, they still had a 5 from before. So they got like an extra down off of their land, compared to their neighbor. And there's a couple other streets now that I looked at it to the west of Roland Road. It's not just the ones at the top of Roland. There's like 2 or 3, it's not Fox or whatever, but there's several other streets in there that are low. And if you look at the sales in 2020, you can see, as soon as you put the site index where it's at a 6, the sale matches up with the appraised value, but only if you take the site index off. If you add $120,000, then they line up. And that's how you, right, that's how you do the reval. You take your sales and you try to get your properties that are appraised to be pretty close to the, right? That's,
you develop the model.
You develop the model based on the sales. And so if you go back to the model and you look at these sales, it's like, why is this guy $120,000 or $250,000 lower than his sale, and he sold in October of 2020? And as soon as you change his land value to what Mike thought he was making it, they line up with each other. And it's pretty obvious that that's what happened. So, and Mike said it,
like I said,
I
I
asked
recall
him.
talking about that section, but I don't recall the email from Mike.
Yeah, he admitted, he goes, yeah, they were all supposed to be 6s. And so that's when I brought it up at that time. I was like, in 2020, I was like, and I even said to Jim Baldwin, we should fix these people now because, one, they are too low, and it was an error in
We're getting rid of the site index.
No, but now we're getting rid of it.
Yeah, but next time, assuming they're all 120 too low, all those 40 houses, however many there are, 50 houses that are too low, and they all know it. I mean, you ask them. I know several of them won't, and they're like, yeah, I was wondering about what's the space. Like
I'm sure
Toby
they all
Lane,
know.
Greg Lane called. Yeah, so they go, woohoo, you got, look at your appraisal, it's really low. And that's because, and I looked at that property, and sure enough, it's because they have a 5 site index. So people, they know. But what's going to happen the next time is they're going to get a really big bump. They're going to go like 30 or 40% up because they weren't where they were supposed to be this time.
Tell them to go talk to you, Kathleen.
Well, you know what, so that's why I feel like at least give them a heads up that, hey, guys, you've gotten a free pass for 5 years
And if
on
most
your
of them already
taxes.
know it, then they shouldn't be surprised.
Well, I
if
don't
they
know
go
how
30 or
many
40%.
know that, but they're all gonna come in,
Most of them don't.
that's what's gonna happen, right? Because they're gonna say, how come my neighbor went up 15%, I went up 40%? And we're gonna have to go back and say, okay, you're one of those ones who was you were under for 5 years, but they're all gonna come in. So that's why I was hoping that we as a board had the authority to, and I still believe we do, to fix it if it was a coding error that was admitted by the reval company. It was not a judgment error. He just didn't fix it all. He was supposed to make them all 6s, and he did it. And he knew it. So that's why I wanted to fix them. But I guess we decided we didn't want to touch them, but now now we got to deal with it. That's what I'm trying to figure out is how many of them are there and how are we going to
Well, like I said,
deal with
the site index will probably, if I have my way, it'll go away.
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah, well, if
Maybe
you
get
made
you
them
right.
all 6s
Just wanna
now,
simplify.
and then put it all
Well,
down
then
to
what-
5 and do the math to make it work, it's gonna, it's not hard to get rid of it, you just have to adjust the DPs based on, right? So if you put them all to 6, then, there should be a way to just take 10% off and put them all back to 5s, right? Or just no site index at all. 5 means
Didn't we
nothing,
vote
5
on
means no adjustment.
Yeah, we did.
I feel like we voted on it.
Yeah.
We did, we said we weren't gonna touch it, but,
Right.
so my point was I wanted to understand how many of them there were, and what's gonna be done so that
Yeah,
it
there's-
doesn't happen the next time, and how are we
And there
gonna
are 6s
communicate
throughout
to
the
these
town.
people?
It's not just there.
Well, it won't happen again because we're
There's
getting rid of
issues
the
all over
site
the place.
index. Right?
Right, well,
It won't happen again if you get rid of the site index. That won't happen.
Yeah, like I say, I'll say
No.
again, I want to simplify
Yeah,
yeah,
how the
okay.
card is structured.
good.
do we know how many site index, like how many properties have it?
Well, I don't know how many houses there are, but I can say when I looked at it, it was from the Old Post Road to almost to about Edward Street, that intersection.
But
So
they're,
it's maybe 2 blocks.
no, but it's
No,
not
site index
just in
around
that
town.
neighborhood, they're all over the town.
Oh, that are,
It's not, right.
well, then, we just leave it alone.
they're used.
It's gonna be
they're
hard to
used-
take it
yeah,
off.
it's-
Yeah, we can't just take it off, so.
I know, you're gonna have to coat them with the other, the BP or whatever, what do you call those, special cal?
Special cal. It would be,
You're gonna
I
have
would like to
special
use
cal?
special, like I said, I wanna use special cal for all of these sorts of adjustments that need to be made for, let's call them pocket neighborhoods within a neighborhood, or.
So how is that
And it could go up or
measured?
down.
How's that measured? Is there a number attached to that, like special?
Yeah, what makes it a 6 versus a 5, just in general, or a 4 instead of a 3? What does it have to do with?
It has to do with defining an area that needs an adjustment, and you put that adjustment on there. It's,
There's a pocket over off of, what's the street? I'm not gonna, in the Stratfield section of town, I can see that it was, there were some houses that kept showing up, and they all had 6s on them. I'm like, why is that? And we went and looked at it, because it's a
there's
really
one
nice
over,
street.
they're up against the golf course, is that that one?
Yes, and it's, I wanna
Yeah, I
say
think that-
Elliott or Edison, or, there's one
There's a bunch of
circle
houses
that
up
has
at
6s on them.
the golf course that were 6s. I know they were.
Oh, off of Churchill Road in there? Up there?
No.
Off of
We're
59.
talking about Hoyden
Mhm.
Hill.
It's before you get
Off of Stratfield.
Stratfield Road, yeah, on the right-hand side in there.
I don't know what Vision's intention
Well,
of
Stratfield
a site
is-
index is. You know, obviously, that has a different,
Churchill. Those back up to the.
it was
no.
developed for a different, a
Street
particular reason. I don't know what that reason was, and it probably has to do with when you're dealing
When
with,
you hit Stratfield
you know,
Road,
neighborhoods
it's
that are 40,000
right.
parcels. You might have site index, you know, different sites, and that's really kind of
Oh,
what they
of course,
do
not.
conceptually with different neighborhoods, they just have different site indexes all.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
further down.
I don't know for sure. I
Oh.
mean, again, we're
Yeah.
dealing with 21,000,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
not,
Further down.
you know, 100,000. So I don't know what the design intention is there.
It just has a significant, it's not a small
No, it's not a small
adjustment.
adjustment, no, it's not.
It's when you take 20% net, you know, either add it to the land value or take it off the land
I
value.
also don't
It's a
think,
lot off the land.
yeah,
And that's why they're, that's why it's so obvious, because you're like, why is this land at the beach 450 and the neighbor's 600 on the same parcel?
All right.
And I'm like, something
That's
is,
not- So voted, it's done.
So I guess we're gonna leave, I don't really.
yeah,
see
I'm
it.
curious to see all the six, is there a way just to pull the 6s? I'd like to know
Yeah.
where they, or whatever, the ones that are not 5s, put it that way. Just so we have some idea, it gives us a good idea of what, where the value is in
Yeah.
town as well. So I'd like a list. Can we get a list?
I don't really need it, if you want a list, that's fine, I don't want a list, because I don't look at things that way.
yeah.
I look at it as,
They're
oh,
all
this
over.
is
They're
your
not-
appeal?
They're not just.
Where's the comments? Okay,
Oh,
fine.
no, I know they're all over town, I'm just curious to know where they are too, yeah.
So, yeah. And I think we're gonna, you know, it may create a problem, we'll have to see how it goes, it may create a problem with the appeals. I mean, somebody comes in and says, you know, I want to appeal my assessment. What I don't really want to hear during the discussion is, well, you know, they had 20% off last time. No, if the comps match up to that appeal, good. If they don't, too bad for them.
I'm just saying, they're gonna come, they'll probably
They'll come,
come in
that's okay.
because they've gone up so much.
I would've.
Right.
Right.
So it'd be good to
But
know
they-
who they were, and to say, oh, yep, this block, you guys,
It-
look what happened.
It should not, the consideration of an appeal should not be based on how much their value changed. That should have nothing to do with it. I'm
I
just
know
saying-
that, you
no,
know
I'm
that,
just
we
saying-
all know
I'm
that,
just
right?
saying,
If
But the
something goes
homeowners
up 20 or
don't know
100%, that really should have no bearing on what
So
you're
that's
looking at.
part of the
It's
video.
all coming back to, is that number,
Yep.
is that value right?
I think
Exactly right.
sometimes though, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. If I looked at mine and said, oh my God, I went up 20%, on that, maybe on some of those, you may find that maybe it shouldn't have gone up 20%, but they wouldn't have
But the
known,
only way you determine whether it should have or should not have
It's
is
comps.
based on the value of the
Right.
property.
based on the comps.
And the comps,
Well, that's what I'm
Well,
saying,
based on
that, and
comps.
you determine the value from the comps.
right.
But you might find one or two that, when you come in with the comps, they might be right. So, we'll see,
Yeah, and that's, again, it all goes back to, is the value right or wrong?
And educating them so we don't get 650 of them,
Mhm.
right? I mean, that was brutal.
I'm surprised we didn't get more. Some people got 1,200, some like bigger cities, but
I know, I can't even imagine having to do that.
Well, we had 1,000 in 2005.
Is that really true?
We had,
Wasn't on the board.
600 was not the highest we've seen.
You're on, you just got reelected. I'm done before then. The three of us are done.
Okay, any other questions on anything for Ross that anybody has?
Oh, weren't we gonna talk about ADUs?
Oh,
Yeah, and then there's three
That's
items for
right.
discussion, so that was just a
Where was
report.
that? How did I miss that? Okay. Oh, there it is, it's underneath, okay.
Yeah, number 5.
Okay. It's actually ADUs, it was my mistake when I went back and looked. It's not AUDs, it's ADUs. Which one asked me?
Well, I just want to get the definitive answer on, because, the town is pushing for and encouraging us to have ADUs, and is there any tax break in doing that? That you know?
Not that I know. I'm just
I
here to
don't,
value
is it
property.
just a misconceived idea by the general public, that, because I've had clients say, oh, I heard we can get a tax break if we do an ADU. It's like, and then,
Really?
So,
Not from my office.
so, no, it's just a rumor out there.
It'll come up again, because you think about it,
I haven't heard that.
if you build an ADU and you're renting it out for $5,000 a month, you don't deserve a tax break. But if you built one and you're actually renting it out to somebody who fits the definition of low income, or what is that, we don't like to say that word anymore.
Affordable,
It's affordable.
affordable housing.
Then that may come up in the future and say, well, what
Well,
about
it would
this?
have to be deed restricted for 40 years.
Right, yep.
Yeah.
And then maybe,
And I don't think
That's
they're
what I,
gonna
that's
go
what I
like
said
that.
too, yeah.
So you're
Personally, I
hearing
don't-
people saying that they will, if
Yeah,
they
they
build
think-
one, they
yeah.
can get a tax
Yeah.
break.
Sure, let's
Yeah,
add to your income, and then we'll give you a tax break too. How nice are we?
Where do they hear that?
I don't know, that's why I wanted to get the
I mean,
definitive
Is
answer.
Zoe's not looking at something like that,
that's the first I've heard
where the RTM.
of any.
But it'll come up again, that's gonna go somewhere, not here, but that's gonna go somewhere else, because it has to. Well, I put my grandmother in there, and she's okay, fine, but what about when she's not there anymore?
Right, it's not about use.
It's 40 years that you can't do anything
It's
with
not
it.
about how you're using it at the moment, it's about how it can be used.
Yeah.
And when when I analyze, an 830G apartment complex, I take into account the affordable units.
Mhm.
I don't treat them all as market rate units. If you've got 100 units and 30 of them are affordable, I know. And there's some at 80 and some at 60%, I plug those numbers into the calc.
And so the owner of that building then would get a tax decrease.
He's not getting an increase or a decrease, he's getting taxed on he's getting valued based on his revenue stream.
Yeah.
And
Which
his
is
revenue
less than it would be.
Its revenue stream is not market on some units, then that's what it is.
Okay.
So it's not a break. I mean, because a break would mean that we're lowering the value when he could sell it for more.
Okay.
He can't sell it based on market rate rentals because he doesn't have 100% market rate rentals. So that's what we're doing. We're trying to give him a true value.
So he gets a true value, which would be less than if all the units were
Market rate.
market rate.
Right.
And so because the town is never gonna lose money, who's paying the rest of that? Gee, I wonder who that's coming from. Maybe the rest of us? Everybody hear that? The rest of us are paying for all the affordable units in town. Just wanna make that clear.
What do you mean?
Well-
They pay their own rent.
No, what I'm saying is, there's a mill rate, there's a tax base, there's the grand list, all that goes into play. So, if somebody's got, say the condominiums over on, I forgot what street that is, over by the railroad station in Southport, near the Teapot Library, there's a little complex over there. Maybe there's 16 units in there, I don't remember exactly how many. 3 or 4 of them are affordable, right? They are, I know they are. We did those, I know they are.
The ones up against 95 and the railroad?
Yeah, they sit in a beautiful spot there, yeah.
Yep.
So, some of those
Yeah,
units are
I
affordable.
believe there's 2 affordable units.
Two, yeah.
Two,
Yeah,
right.
Alcalá.
So,
Not Alcalá.
the person who bought them paid way less than the asking price on all the others, because they were affordable units.
Right.
Glen.
And their taxes are way less than all the other units, where theirs are 22,000, these units are what, 4,500, something like that. That's a huge difference. Only 2 units there, but if you think about multiply that by how many affordable units and all the differences, prices, the town technically loses tax dollars on that, because they're not paying that $22,000. So where do you think that the rest of that money's coming from? The town doesn't lose money.
No, no. 'cause
Somebody's paying it.
Baked into the mill rate, yeah.
Goes to the mill rate, so who do you think who's left to pay it if they're not paying it? We are. So everybody who doesn't like to do things because it's gonna hurt their taxes and everybody else in town's taxes, keep that in mind next time you vote on whether or not it's a good idea to have this.
Well,
To me, it's all, I don't care who they are,
Same
I want the
thing with-
money.
no choice.
Same thing with your veterans exemptions
Yeah.
and your tax relief.
Yeah, except they, it's everything, but everybody's paying for it, but there never used to be so many, I guess is my point. Now, there's more and more, which means more and more taxes are gonna be paid by the rest of the people in town. Just a fact that people don't consider.
So quick question, now back to the reval. What percentage of our, grand list is commercial?
So,
Is it like 80%, 90%?
commercial,
Yeah, or non-residential?
like 8 or 10%.
Of our grand list is commercial?
Yeah,
So not very much.
no.
I assume that the commercial, and who's ever doing the reval is gonna do the commercial too then, right? Because it was two
Yeah.
separate people at MBS last time.
No,
Okay.
no, it was all,
It was all done by Mike, right? But
No,
different
well,
people in his firm, but
yeah,
the same
but
firm.
that's typically what they do.
So that's
Typically,
the same time this time. Okay.
most companies have a commercial person or persons, and one does the residential, because residential is a lot more work
Mhm.
in some ways, there's a lot more people involved, and the commercial guy is kind of
Okay.
a specialty.
Does Westport have a greater percentage? No.
I just thought we would be higher than 10% with all those
I have to
brand new
look- I have to look
apartments
it
and
up.
everything, you know, all the new construction going on down at Metro, you would think the grand list
You would
people,
think
they grew, what, 0.25% or something this year? Did not grow, the grand list did not grow. this year.
0.38.
Right.
That's it.
But a lot, we had an offset on the growth of $40 million because of motor vehicles dropping in value. The motor vehicle list went down 40 million.
Wow.
And that is because the values were, had gone way up. And my phrase is, it's normalizing.
Yeah.
It's coming down. You'll probably see a pretty significant drop in the supplemental list this year. And then if they don't change the whole motor vehicle scheme at the state, they'll probably come down again.
We'll see if the Tesla people come
Yeah, the
in.
Tesla people here, I don't
They'll
blame
be back
them.
this year.
No, but they'll be down.
Yeah.
They'll be down. That change will be reflected now. So if you want, I can tell you what you got for,
Yeah, please,
Yeah,
Is that the next thing on the list? Oh, yeah, you had something to say, two
Oh,
commercial.
yeah, but we don't have to do those we don't need to do.
so you.
I got those answers already.
Okay, yeah, so types and numbers of March appeals.
Oh, okay, you did have that on there. So you have one motor vehicle, you have 12 personal properties, and 17 real estate.
Oh,
3 of those are commercial over $1 million, so you have 14 residential. So you have 26 hearings,
Wow, awesome.
26 hearings.
so I have a question. In fact, it's probably about one of those appeals. Maybe it isn't. There was a commercial appeal, no, it's personal property, actually, appeal from Bridgeport Hospital, I think.
Yep.
And they're saying that they shouldn't have to pay taxes on the
Yep.
equipment
Three of
because
them.
it's
Yep.
medical. Now, I read the statute that they cited. I don't see that word medical anywhere in there.
It's hospital. So
They're not in a hospital, they're in a facility.
So the statute was originally written that says that hospitals are exempt. Around about 2015, we started to see more and more of the hospitals forming. Do you remember Mill Hill Associates?
What's that? I think-
Mill Hill Associates?
Hmm.
That was one of the original hospital entities that was started buying up practices. Okay, they've since been reabsorbed into Bridgeport Hospital. So there was many assessors, myself, that didn't exempt the practices even if they were bought by a hospital. There was some that did. In Fairfield, they were exempted. So if Yale Health System bought a practice, it was exempted. If Bridgeport Hospital, it was exempted. So around about 2015, and I can take credit for this, and I will, I talked to the Speaker of the House, who happened to work in Hamden, and talked to him about the whole thing and said, we got to change this. So he wrote language that would say that you have to be, if they buy this, they're no longer, it's not exempt. So you could completely remove them. That wasn't gonna get passed at that state level. It wasn't gonna fly. So the compromise was, it had to be on the campus of a hospital. So if you had a medical practice that was on the hospital campus, it would be exempt. And if it was previously exempted, it would have to stay exempt. So when I came here, anything that pre-existed, I granted them an exemption. If they bought a new one, and so far they haven't challenged that. So if it's a new practice, I don't exempt it. If it's a pre-existing practice, by statute, I have to.
Good for you. That's the way it should be.
Yep.
So I'm guessing that guy doesn't qualify.
I don't know. I honestly think, I haven't looked at those yet, but I think we might have missed a couple. So there may be some that were, somebody comes from my office and says that, yeah, that should.
And that was passed in 2015?
It was around about that time, 15, 16.
Because that statute says, you never want a hospital that says scientific equipment. That's not scientific equipment. That equipment
Well,
is
you have to read, that's 1281.
1281-7.
You'd have to read the whole thing.
I read it.
There's more than just scientific.
No, there's a bunch of stuff.
They talk about hospitals.
Yeah. But I don't consider, like you, I don't consider that a hospital.
That particular language might be somewhere else. Shoot me an email, and I might be able to find that.
Okay.
Because that language is, I think it might be somewhere else in the statute.
Okay.
So we'll let you know on those. We'll give you what we think should happen to those.
So what was it again? 14 properties,
14 residential.
14 residential.
and how many, a lot of personal, 12? Okay, wow, almost as many personal. Those are the ones where they don't file the
Yeah,
damn
that's
thing
all.
and
There's a bunch of these
Little-
exempt ones that
Oh.
we'll have to
Go
fix.
read, you have to read them, because you'll just sit there and laugh. It's just the way people write their stuff, it's just really funny.
Is it small?
I don't really run a business. I just registered a DBA so I could buy things online, just see,
And sell,
buy and sell things
but I'm
online.
not a business.
But I'm not a business. And who's the other one?
So-
These houses are in a very high crime neighborhood.
Yes,
Then
4
why
or
do you
5 of
have
them high crime, yeah.
It's fine. You own 3 of them. Why'd you keep buying if they're in a high crime neighborhood? One should have been enough.
The snow blower was stolen, yeah.
And the snowblower was stolen, the car was stolen, I have another one. It's like, well, but you own 3 different
That's my
properties.
street.
You do, and you
Okay.
have some interesting real estate. You have the
Oh, yeah, we do have some interesting real estate.
Koningsberg house. I think it's Koningsberg. The house that.
On Sky Top?
Yep.
Yep, the guy that was,
The guy that,
they stole it, they
sold the house out from under him, without him knowing it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So now he's,
Oh, boy.
I was gonna go take a drive.
We might be in the news.
I got a list of the ones I wanted to drive by, I got a list of 7 of them that I wanna drive by, just take a look at the area.
I found some aerials on that house, and there was another one I put some aerials in, just so you could see the change. I gave you both the previous and the current, so you could see what it was and what it became.
But there are some interesting ones.
Oh, yeah.
Even though there's not a lot of them, there's a lot of fields of some.
Yeah, that's gonna be an interesting one.
Getting worse and worse. I drove by there recently.
Where?
What is?
The house is there.
The
Yeah.
house is
Could you imagine, like, going to visit your old
tie
house
back
and finding somebody built a house on it?
ripped to this point, you
I'm
know.
guessing the guy has a good temper and doesn't know the weapon, because I would have gone out and shoot it, just started shooting, get out of here.
So many
I know.
schemers out there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
so many scammers.
My
you
property
wonder
was scammed.
about that whole thing.
Was it?
Probably more to that
My
whole
Florida
story.
property.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
wow.
I have a Florida property, a condo, and it was rented to a woman for 3 months. That's the minimum. And in the meantime, a company associated with Furbo, I think it was like called Homes Away or something, someone stole my listing on MLS. My agent listed that on MLS, copied it onto Homes Away, and collected $2,500 from this woman who was calling my condo manager to get the key.
Oh.
I had that happen, not my own property, but I had a listing that happened to
Yeah.
quite a few years ago.
Yeah.
The poor woman.
Yeah, it was a
I had
listing,
like
but
$2,000, and
Yeah.
then she called me, I'm like, what are you talking about? And then we researched.
But that guy, Skytop one, I mean, that even tricked
Oh,
the
wow.
lawyers,
Yeah.
so. Interesting, okay, well, thank you.
Yep, so there's some interesting ones coming.
And the field cards are some of them they're putting in the 2013s, and the 14 field cards are not online, right? So,
Say that again?
What's
The
2000?
2013 or 2023?
I'm sorry, 2023 cards. So a lot of people, when they
I've asked them.
submitted them, they put their 2023 cards
The
in.
data that's appearing on Vision is the 23 grant list. That's current. The
The
field card
field-
that's a PDF
Okay.
is, I've,
It's dated
I gotta follow up with
2023.
Vision. I don't know what takes them so long.
Are they supposed to be uploading the
I-
2024
I
cards?
asked them to start uploading it on February 1st.
Okay. So if we don't have them, I mean, it's kind of,
We've put a copy of the field card in every file.
did you put the new ones at the end? Because some of those,
We put,
okay.
usually the field card is the first thing that follows the
Yeah,
application.
quite a few of them say 2023 on the top. As I was clicking through them to see what they look like, and it was showing.
But that's good.
2023. No, we want the 2020, we want it printed in 2024. Because the one that was printed in February of 2023
We've been
is
printing
using
them
the
in
value
the
from the
office.
previous year.
We've been printing them in their office.
So you haven't been using the ones that people are
We
submitting?
don't, no, we print them in the office. We don't use the
Yeah, there were
PDF.
3 or 4, I mean, when I started looking, I'm like,
That
shoot,
might be
this
the
is a-
PDF from the customer supply.
That's what I'm saying.
But
the
what we
customer.
put in there, and we usually put it as the first thing after the application,
Mhm.
regardless of anything they submit, we always put, I told them, my folks, put that in there
Okay.
right after the app, so that the first thing you get out the app is our field card, the full field card. So if they just do the Vision,
If they're looking through which link? The Vision link?
no, the appeals, the backup scan.
Oh, the backup scan, right, okay, right,
Yeah, if you click on the, like I say, I have to follow up with Vision.
okay.
Will we have them before we have to deliberate?
Have what?
The updated field cards?
It's
Online.
in the scanned image.
No,
Online,
say
I don't
somebody
know.
gives you a,
It was
yeah.
supposed to be done a week ago, and.
For example, someone submitted the comps, right? But he submitted the comp field cards and they're dated 2023.
Why do I need that, what's the difference between the 23 and 2024? What's the
It's just a
difference?
year old. The card is a year old.
Yeah, but what's the big difference? I mean, we're going.
Someone made improvements on the property.
Doesn't matter, we're looking at
Yeah, but
2019, 2020, right? Unless they come in and say that they got raised in between.
some of them have sold in the last, they, like the
Well,
sale, they.
yeah, there's at least one in there
the year.
that's got all current sales. He submitted all current sales, so.
I'm not sure.
Well,
Am I
Or
missing
somebody
something?
puts in a pool or something.
Yeah, that
right?
kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
someone coming in, right, because you have to reassess
Yeah, it doesn't
them,
matter if
they
they
put in a
sold.
pool, and then they went up more than the price of their pool, so they're asking us to take
Yeah,
a
I saw
look
that,
at it.
yeah.
Right, but the card, it's hard to take a look at.
That's the
Whatever.
one, I think I did the aerial, so you can see the before and after.
There was one appeal, and I haven't looked since yesterday, so it might be in there now, and I didn't see it. There's one appeal that you sent us an email about. Some guy sent us an
So
appeal.
the guy emailed us.
Oh, we
Email
were all
appeal?
copied on it.
Yeah, he never came back.
He never came back?
Nope.
Yeah, one of his addresses isn't a valid Penfield Road address, whatever, he has 3 comps, and one of the comps doesn't,
That's okay.
he has the
We don't
wrong
use it then.
Yeah, no, he never filed.
Is that in there? Because to me, he
No.
filed his appeal. He filed his appeal. He just didn't,
He didn't file a complete application with all the information.
The statute says in a format that the board will accept. If he didn't put in all the
And have
information,
all the highlighted information.
so what if we called him and said, you handed in your appeal, you didn't hand in the firm sheet, bring it with you? He has to come for a hearing. If he doesn't show up for the hearing, too bad, it's done.
I don't think it's a submitted appeal.
What do you guys think? He submitted his appeal, he didn't fill out the firm sheet.
Butter LLC or something, right?
Yeah, Butter, LLC.
yeah. I mean, when we talked about this, I did agree, I think, that if he brought the application with him, since he notified us that he, and gave us all that information, if he brought the application back, then I'd be willing to listen to it, but,
So if somebody just emails and says, I'm appealing, then they're in.
good point.
Good point, but
No.
But he did more than
But he did more than that. He sent it in like it's an appeal. He sent in comps, he sent in information. I think he even said what he wanted, right? I mean, I don't know, I shouldn't say that, because we didn't see it, we only saw your email. I just want to
It went
see
to the
it.
BAA email, that, because I just simply replied all.
Yeah, you replied all.
So
But
you
I
should have had
didn't
the original.
I didn't see what he had, I just saw that.
And we haven't heard back from him since then.
Nothing.
Did he submit anything else, like?
That's the only thing we got is that email, and when I saw that, I got back to him first thing.
Okay. Well, oh, here it is. Please find the attached assessment appeal for C-65 Penfield Road, along with supporting documents. Those I didn't see. I only saw that statement.
What was his question?
Well, he didn't have a question. He thought he had done it the right way. It sounds to me like he sent an appeal, he emailed an appeal, emails in his appeal, and it says, "Good evening, sir or madam, please find attached assessment appeal."
Pay attention.
Blah, blah, blah.
He didn't fill out the
He
form.
didn't fill out the form, but he sent in an appeal with supporting documents.
Mm-hmm.
So what do we want to do with that?
And it was responded to saying, please fill out the form.
Yeah, then Ross
If he
responded.
didn't
He sent it Monday night, I responded Tuesday morning by like,
But if you didn't
8:45,
respond to the, the email back saying
This is a couple weeks ago, right?
But he
No,
still,
this is just recently.
but he still had time, right? There was still
He
time for
sent it on
him to,
Monday,
Right.
the holiday.
he still had
Okay.
time to respond with the
Yeah.
application, but he
I think it
didn't.
was last Monday,
Oh.
not even the night, because
I
we
feel
weren't
like
here
it
on
was
the
a week
19th.
ago.
No, he says,
I thought it
says,
was, I thought
Yeah, it was like the 12th. It was-
no, this says on here, sent February 19th at 11 p.m. to the Board of Assessment Appeals.
So maybe it was Tuesday morning.
And then you responded on Tuesday morning, I believe.
Okay,
I did.
saying, please do blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
I don't know, I mean, I think
You
we're all
mind
adults
reminding-
here, I mean, you're supposed
I mean,
to
he
follow
didn't
the
respond,
instructions.
so-
I mean, yeah, I don't even think we've been,
Did he,
we asked.
You
You
have
haven't
his
heard from
original
him
email?
yet.
I
Only
can't,
what you
see mine's
sent,
not
only
open,
what you sent, here. This is
Well-
what I have.
but it won't open up,
No.
what he said won't open up.
No. I mean, if he sent the whole appeal. in-
If he sent it my opinion is, if he sent it as from an email, that he's using his emails, he should have looked at the next email, which was kindly blah, 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 do this.
Right, and he didn't.
And he didn't.
Maybe there's a reason. He'd be out of the country for all we know.
Well, then he still has an email.
I mean,
Yeah,
I responded to the way he
Yeah.
sent it.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, you gave him a chance to come back and do,
yeah, I
bring
can't
the
see the
application.
attachment, so I don't know if he actually included all the info,
and what was the deadline?
20th.
The next day.
The next day.
All right, well, that's
I
that.
don't know.
That's that.
Trouble here. I can float it by Phil Pierce, if you'd like,
Who's that?
our new town attorney.
We have a new one?
Yep. New administration, new town attorneys.
Hmm?
Phil's very good, very, very good.
I mean, honestly, it's no different than if someone came to us and we said, look, you didn't do it right, if you can come back and give us the comps,
Mm-hmm.
we'll take another look at it, and if they never come back
Right.
and give it to us, so it's no different than that.
In that,
We
in that
gave the
case,
guy
though,
a
he would
chance
have,
and he didn't come back.
maybe he didn't see it in time. He only had that day to do it. He could have gotten that email that night, but,
Well, yeah, but,
He doesn't ask for a value. He asks, I respectfully request a reassessment of the property at 365 Penfield in accordance with Connecticut property tax statutes and guidelines. I believe a comprehensive review of the valuation taking into account will result in a fair and equitable assessment.
Was that AI generated?
Did you use SPSS? Did you use attachment?
I'm just
You
trying
look
to,
at his
Just like the
analysis,
rest of us are getting revalued, you'll get it.
his analysis has means, medians, I mean,
No,
blended data,
move on.
and everything.
I'm just trying to save us from going to court, really.
Well, he
because
needs
that
to
costs money,
specify
too.
a value, right?
So if it was
Legally, it doesn't have a like.
You gotta, I mean, you gotta follow the,
Well, if you're worried
The
about the
instructions
legal aspect,
that
then
everybody else
consult
has
with
to,
the
in my
attorney
opinion.
and
Go to the
see what
attorney,
he
see what he
thinks. But he
See what he
didn't,
says.
he didn't do it properly, so, end of story.
Excuse me.
So then the next decision we need to make, right, is how are we going to, Ross, do you know how many of them want it days and
No,
evenings
we
and?
just finished the spreadsheet today, and tomorrow I'm gonna try to plug them in. So if you could send me your
Well, that's what we need to figure
hearing
out.
days,
let's do that.
Can we do them all in two hearing sessions, I would hope?
do you wanna schedule them?
Do I want this,
You as a board, do you wanna schedule?
well, that's
to-
what we just need to figure out. We don't know how many want it at requested day or night, or we could just do them all at
Looks to
night,
me
and
like-
tell them they can't have
It
day.
looks to me like the
You have
majority
the-
was daytime.
You have their sheet. You can see that on the,
Yeah, you have
Their
to go
sheet,
through
yeah.
this, however
I
many
did
there
go
are.
through them the other day.
So
and
do
at
you know
the
how
time-
many want day or
At
night?
the time, they weren't all in, only like half of them were in, so, but it was like 3 nighttime appeals to like 8 daytime.
and a lot of people that did put a preference in.
Some people didn't put a preference in.
So what's the total number we have? 1 motor vehicle, 12 personal,
26
14
years.
residential.
so we have 26. So we should be able to do that in a day and a night hearing. Am I right?
Let's see.
20 minutes each one?
They have 4 hours, 10 to 1. What time do we say, 10 to 1:30, or 10 to 1? For the morning one.
I
The
don't
10 to
remember what
1
we
and
did.
4:30 to 8.
That's it, so 10 to 1 is 3 hours. So how many can we do in 3 hours?
12. If
Nine.
you do 20,
9.
9
or 3
to
hours.
20 minutes.
if it's 20 minutes, unless you want to do
Nine.
50.
Yeah,
Because then you have to,
I think it should do
you
more
gotta,
than 2 days.
you have to account for, like, they might be a few minutes late, you know what I mean? It's never gonna be, that's why I moved it to 20 minutes, to account for some of that. So, okay, so 9 in one session.
Right.
The nighttime is 4 hours, right?
4:30 to 8:30 is what we said.
Yep.
Mhm.
So I would say, I mean, it's not gonna kill us if we get done early, we're done. So I would say just schedule,
Well, what days do you want to do it?
we'll start on the 3rd or 4th, what's the first day?
He has to know, they have to have 7 days notice, right? In order to, you have,
7
there's
or
some,
10.
there's a certain number of days, so we can't do it too soon if you can't get the notices out.
Well, if we get this pronto, I'll get them out.
So it
Well,
looks like March 4th is a Monday.
and today's the 22nd, so if he gets them out tomorrow,
You won't get them out tomorrow. No, it's Friday,
It's
right?
hard to make the mail, because they come early, but.
So we wouldn't get them out really until Monday.
But I can
Okay.
stamp, I mean, for the number we have, I could put stamps on them.
so that's,
And we
So
don't
you
have
think
to
you
start
wanna
on
do the
the 4th, I would
5th?
just wanna start.
You
as
want to
early
wait
as
till
we could, so.
Tuesday?
Would it help you if we waited till Tuesday? It's fine with me. Okay, so we'll start on the 5th.
You should be able to do them that first week. I am away that week. I'll be back on the 11th, so.
That's okay, we could do the hearings that week and the deliberations the next week.
okay, so what are we saying? Tuesday, the 5th,
You need to
Start.
do daytime on the 5th?
Yes,
hearing,
might as well start with the daytime.
what were they again, 10 to 1:30, is that what you
10 to
said?
1?
10
10
to
to
1.
1.
10 to 1.
Hearings 10 to 1.
And Peter and I can't make those ones, so if they didn't specify, I'd prefer that we put them at night so that Peter and I can hear them.
If they didn't specify, I
Daytime.
think it would be only fair to call them and ask them what they would like.
No, wait, why?
Because I don't mind doing it, because everybody, maybe they didn't see it, everybody else had an opportunity. Remember, we're here with them, we're not here to accommodate ourselves.
All right, so when are we doing the nighttime one?
Do the nighttime ones,
You want to do a night on the
what
5th?
what
too?
time do you guys want to start the night? I mean, when, not what time, what night do you want to start the nights, Kathleen, Peter?
I mean, the 5th, right?
Okay.
We want to get them done, right?
Yeah.
You're Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, any of those nights better or worse for you? 5, 6, 7?
We don't do Fridays unless you want to.
No, but we should get them done in,
It shouldn't take
we
us
should,
that long to do.
maybe 1 day and 2 nights. That's probably what,
No, because we have too many day ones already.
how many day ones do we have?
We have 8, but I think I stopped counting because we didn't have any more in the system, but then I saw that there were some others, so it may take a day and a half.
Well, then you guys decide who's gonna do the day ones and what day you wanna do them.
Okay.
I'd like to get them all done that week.
I mean,
so that
right, 5, 6, and 7 would be
Any of those nights.
good, yeah.
So
I mean,
Wednesday, 2 days,
Probably
2 nights.
Wednesday the 6th, I probably can't start at 4:30, it'll have to be
5
5
o'clock?
o'clock, yeah.
Do you wanna do the night of the 5th too? Do you wanna do the 5th
Sure,
and the
yeah.
6th
Yeah.
at 5?
Yeah.
So 5 and 6 at 5 p.m.?
And I think a
And
lot
then
of.
a daytime
Well,
on
I'm
the
not
5th
mistaken, I
from
think
10 to
that's
1?
one.
Want to just do the 5 and 2 in
commercial
2 days?
field night. I
Really?
think that was, I'm pretty sure those were most of the,
Well, no, the
As
three
I was
commercials
going
are
through.
over $1 million, so they're not.
oh, right, so we're not even gonna have to deal with those. And a lot of those commercials that were.
Sorry, did we
were
say,
night ones.
you're gonna, please repeat all this when we're done.
Yeah, and plus some of them, one guy has like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So it's not
gonna
gonna take,
And a
it's
lot
not
of
gonna
the
take
personal
20
property-
minutes for
right.
each one.
A lot of the personal property it's the same issue for multiple accounts. So you probably don't need to schedule 20 minutes per account,
No, it's gonna go quick.
because one person's gonna come in and represent 3, 4, 5 accounts.
Do you have it on a spreadsheet yet?
I do, I can't,
Okay.
Maybe put that,
So that'd be
maybe
helpful.
put that one last, so
Are we
at
gonna do
least
this
we're not
collectively?
hiccuping the other people
That's
For the,
It's collective.
okay.
as much as you can,
as much as we can.
yeah.
So do you wanna do, I mean, are you guys okay with day and night, Tuesday and Wednesday, and we'll just get them done?
Are we starting at 5 then? Is that what
5
you're
on
saying?
the weeknights and whatever time you
So
want
we
to do
end at,
daytime.
we end at 1,
And then you
we
come
do
back
our
at
work.
5.
and then we can come back at 5,
And
okay.
then we're done by Wednesday night. So it'll just be Tuesday, Wednesday, day and night.
Okay.
Oh, so Tuesday night too?
I think 5 o'clock on Tuesday and 5 o'clock on Wednesday. I mean, 4:30 is tight for me. I don't get out of work till 4:30, so.
Okay.
10 to 1.
And once we take a look at it, we should be able to figure out, you know, if it's the same appellant, you just put them all together, right? At the
Yeah.
same time and just slot them all.
I'll take a look when I get home tonight and see how many.
Yeah, and if you've got them in a spreadsheet,
How many didn't pick a time.
Should we
I have them
also
in
pick
spreadsheet,
the
I don't have when they won.
It
deliberation?
doesn't take long, maybe there's only, what, 26 total, I can just flip.
There's like 30 scans.
Oh, yeah, that's right, I can just flip through those, they don't take long.
Should we pick the deliberation time
and
too
then we'll
now?
deliberate the next week.
Yep,
Let's do that.
no one else is here. So that will be,
Well, maybe we'll do all the personal properties and the motor vehicle on one night, and then try to do the real estate in 1 or 2 nights.
real estate is one appeal.
No, there's 14 real estates.
No, there aren't. Isn't there only one car?
No,
One
motor
car.
vehicle, one motor
One
vehicle,
motor
yeah.
Yeah.
No, real estate.
Oh, real, I'm sorry.
That's okay. So there's 1 motor vehicle and 12 personal properties. So if we deliberate, I mean, we'd like, we want staff, you're back on the 11th, right? So, because the personal
I've got a
property, we
couple.
usually, everybody.
I have a couple of
Definitely are
conflicts.
gonna need help,
Some
so,
conflicts on those 2 dates.
What's two?
So do you all know that Paula has left?
yes.
I found that out when I called up to look for her one day.
Yeah, Paula has left. Karen Gates has taken her place. She's coming up to speed, so, I'm gonna have her sit in and see if she, I don't think these personal property are gonna be that complicated, so
Okay,
I'm gonna ask her to,
Carol, what day do you have conflict?
Well, on the 11th, I have another board meeting that
Okay.
meets.
Yeah, the 11th actually is,
And on
conflict.
Tuesday, I've been asked to
11th,
speak
I
at
can't do
Fairfield
that.
University at 5.
That's on the 12th?
Yeah.
What are you gonna speak about?
It's the senior, I've been asked through Sotheby's, with the relocation, vice president to talk to seniors about what you do if you've been asked with your new job to relocate,
Oh, that's cool.
what to consider, what
Okay.
leases are all about. Anyway, so I committed to that. Yeah.
I have to speak to them about nursing ones.
Oh,
So do we wanna just start later on the 12th, or do you wanna come when you're done?
I don't want to start later. Let's,
I feel like the
Another day.
deliberations, I feel like,
because we don't really know what time you're gonna get done. They may have a lot of
I know.
questions and, you know.
I mean, I could probably say 7 o'clock.
I'm done by 7.
Oh,
I'm not gonna start at 7, let's put it that way.
all right. So then, do you mind if we start on the 13th?
What's that?
I said, I can't find that property.
That's what I said, the second property he listed is not,
I'm sorry, what's that?
The
correct.
13th?
No, his property
That's fine,
is
that's fine.
65 Penfield Road. It doesn't come up.
Oh, his property did come up for me, but
So
not,
how many,
not one of the
how many
top.
do we do on deliberations?
It all depends on how, there's only
It's a weird house, it's stone and it's got
20
4
something.
garages.
Oh, I did look at
maybe
that.
30. We're not gonna even have 30, because some of them in
Why
there,
doesn't-
They're gonna get
30
resolved.
includes, commercial appeals that we're not gonna hear. The
Right.
ones that are over $1 million.
No, I understand.
So,
But I'm just saying, I can't remember how many we would listen
Three
to a
nights?
night.
what?
Oh, there it is.
I would think
But
3
this is
nights. is
Three
enough.
nights.
Yeah, I think the 3 nights of deliberation.
So it would be
is
the
enough, don't you?
13th, the 14th.
12, 13, 14.
No, we're not doing the 12th.
We're not doing the 12th either.
And we're not doing the 13th either.
Why can't we
What's
do,
that?
we can't do the
13th
13th?
is, oh, I'm sorry, 11th and 12th are the nights you can't come, right?
Right.
So we can do the 13th.
Peter can't do the 11th.
I know, neither can Carol, so we're gonna do the 13th. Peter, 13th, okay?
Yep, 13.
And the 14th,
14th,
and then the,
following
we
Monday.
never do Friday, so
Right.
Mhm.
Monday, the 18th.
That gets us done in plenty of time.
Yeah, I have something on the 18th.
Okay.
Okay, wait, we don't have the 18th.
Do
19th.
I have something at 8. I just figured we'd be long done with our deliberations by
Well, we
then.
might be done by then.
When we do our hearings, 5
That's
and 6.
3 hours, right? You have something at 8, so that means you'd have to leave before 8.
I have something at 6 too, but,
Okay, so that date's not good.
well, I can
How about-
try to switch
is
to
there-
6 o'clock,
Is
the
there
8
a
o'clock.
reason why
I
we
can't.
can't do Friday the 15th? We don't usually do
We
Fridays,
usually
but
don't
if
do
it means we're done, does anybody care, really?
Yeah,
Say it
I'll
again?
be able to.
Okay,
Yeah,
Friday,
okay. So that would take us to the 19th,
So we're doing the 13th and the 14th?
13th and 14th, and the 19th.
19's fine for me.
19th fine for you?
We don't want to do a couple hours on the 12th, huh?
What's the 12th?
That's when GS or Fairfield used to.
No, because it's,
What,
it starts at 5, right?
yeah, why can't we start, we don't wanna start at 7?
No, I'm not gonna go down here at 7 o'clock at night. That's not happening.
Most boards don't start till 7.
That's why I'm not on those boards,
How
I'm
about
on this one.
6? Could we do 6 and
She
do the
won't be back
personal
in time.
property?
Why can't we just pick another day?
I don't know, I just feel like I want to get
Well,
done.
what's the difference? I mean, it's one day.
If you're done with me, I'm leaving.
You know, you're all-
I've been at meetings every night this week.
I don't blame
Got
you.
it? You're finished. Thank you, Russ.
But you know when to schedule people, or how do you want to do
Just,
it?
I mean, are you gonna call?
I'm gonna call them. And if
Do
not,
you
then I'm
wanna
just
just
gonna
plug it
sign
in then?
Yeah, how do I do that?
You need to tell me
Okay,
what day and time.
okay.
I have to do I'm gonna agenda them, we need to agenda the hearings.
We need to agenda, wait, what's this? We agenda.
We have to post agendas for the hearings.
Yeah, you just have to say this is when we're meeting.
No, it lists what hearings are on what days.
No, you don't.
Kathleen,
I'm gonna
I
do
can
it.
send you the spreadsheet once I plug in the dates and time.
Yes.
I'm gonna put on the 18th, is that what we're, deliberations?
Did I ask you to email me something?
Yeah.
The 19.
You
Oh,
asked me to
not
email you, maybe about that guy?
Thank you.
Yeah, we won't have to do that.
So what are we doing, 13, 14?
And 19.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
And maybe we'll be done on the 14th. You never know.
So if we plan to do the personal property and the motor vehicles on one night, we're gonna start with those on the 13th then?
Sure.
This will be the first time that we're all deliberating from hearings that we've all listened to already.
No, we did that last
won't
year.
hear them all.
I don't feel like we all were together.
We weren't, because these guys can't do days.
Yeah.
So we did days, and then sometimes he doesn't.
And they did the night.
Right,
But
I was
I
the night one.
did, I
No,
did
you
not
guys
go
did
to
the
the
night.
night one.
Yeah, you did.
Some of them,
I was
I
with
was
you.
there for every one, but you weren't there all the time.
Sometimes all five of us were here at the night.
Sometimes,
Okay,
yeah, but
I guess
something
my
like that.
point was, maybe these will go a little faster, since we won't be asking questions.
If you look
We
at
have our
them,
notes.
if you
I'm
look
being
at them,
optimistic,
they're-
so quick.
they're not that
difficult.
complicated, they're not that hard. So I just don't, if everybody prepares the
Yeah,
real
there
estate
should be
ones
a-
ahead of time, that's what
Absolutely.
that's what takes our time, is deliberations on the real estate. And if we're actually ready, like, to talk about them and done our homework,
Yeah, we should
Then
be
they-
able to.
And that's
it should
only
go quickly.
should go fast.
14, right?
No, we should be able to do them all in one
It's
night.
shocking, there's that many personal ones,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Yeah, and we should be able to deliberate all the personal properties in one night, and we just stay until it's done.
All the personal properties, yeah.
And the motor vehicle, and
Yeah,
just
that
get them
one
out of the
motor
way on the
vehicle, yeah.
13th, and then hopefully, maybe we'll get through all the real estate on the 14th.
I don't think so. We'll see, maybe we will. Maybe we will.
If they don't have think about whether they have a case or not, and whether we wanna spend a lot of time trying to figure out what the value is, or we just wanna say, no, they have a case or they don't, and just make a decision, right?
Mhm.
Otherwise, sometimes we spend
We spend a lot of time.
a half an hour trying to
Yeah.
figure out, what the comps should be, and in this case, some of them.
Now, let's go over those minutes again. We don't have to post everybody's name in the minutes.
Technically, when you post an agenda, you're supposed to post what the business is on the
Right, and
agenda.
the business is, we're meeting to,
What
the
the hearings
hearings.
are, you're supposed to post what the hearing is.
it's hearings for assessment appeals, that's it.
Who's being heard at what time.
We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that.
I did that in the past.
Did we say the 13th?
Not the deliberations, but the hearings, yes, just what the schedule is, and these are the times.
I'm sorry, what?
Did we
And
say
it's a
the
public
13th
document, you
we're
can
gonna
share it
crank
with,
them all
it gets posted,
Deliberation.
Uh-huh.
and then you know what the
That
fields
would-
are.
I just don't like to do extra work we don't have to do.
It's a mail
All
merge,
done in one
takes
night.
2 seconds.
I don't see why we have to give out
The-
every piece of freaking information there is on everybody that steps in
I know.
the door.
I like to follow the.
But that's not the rule. You wanna do what you wanna do, because you like it that way. It has nothing
No,
to do
the
with the
agenda
rule.
is supposed to list what the
13th.
business is.
Every agenda I look at,
The
lists the
14th.
businesses. It doesn't list people that are coming.
And the night.
Unless they're speaking.
If it's a zoning appeal, the ZBA lists the properties that are appealing.
Uh-huh.
Right, this is just the same thing, this
Not
is
all,
this is
no.
assessment appeal
Whatever.
versus zoning appeal.
Whatever.
Yeah.
You're gonna do what you want, no what I say, so you go right ahead. Then ask me
Do we
again
wanna
when you
repeat
say
dates one more time, or is everyone good? You wanna just repeat all?
I'll just do
Sure.
what I'm supposed to.
So I see the dates of,
I wanna make sure I get
the
it.
hearings, we're gonna do 5 and 6, both day and night, 10 to 1, and 5 to 8, or whatever it's gonna take, 5 to 8:30 to get them done at night. And then the next week, we're doing deliberations on the 13th and the 14th, which
You
is
say till we're done.
Wednesday and Thursday, and then potentially on the 19th, and then we'll probably need, right, that's the following Tuesday,
Yep.
right?
Okay,
So we're doing a Wednesday and a Thursday deliberation, and then the following Tuesday.
yep,
And then if we want to approve the minutes for all of this, or if we have any that we're gonna bring back, right, which is what's happened in the past,
Mhm.
sometimes people will follow up when they get their
Yep.
letter. We probably need to pick one date towards the end of March where we'll come in and hopefully approve the minutes and/or redeliberate on anything
Yeah.
else, so we don't have to
Okay.
wait until September. So I'm
okay.
thinking, do you
I
wanna
think
look
that's
at like
fine.
the 26th, 27th, so we put it on, I can't do 26, 27? March 27th or 28th?
Maybe we should do
towards
it
the end of the
sooner,
month?
only because like,
Well, the minutes,
We don't have a recording secretary.
yes, that's the other topic, we do not have a recording.
I know.
I told you we wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, so.
I knew
They
it.
didn't even try. There was
No,
there was
they
no
didn't,
effort.
they didn't even try.
No.
So, take 7 days, whatever, I'm just telling you,
Okay,
I'm doing
then
all
that's
this other
different, that's
stuff.
fine. I was just
I'm
trying to
gonna
think.
need if I have to do them all, I'm gonna need some time to get them ready and get them posted.
I don't know about that. I don't know why you should have to do that.
Well, unless they're gonna hire somebody to do it.
It's their problem if they're not done. They didn't support, they didn't
No,
have the
it's
support.
actually, we're responsible.
No, we're not responsible if we don't have the support.
I don't know about that.
This is like, so you give them what we have. I'll take the minutes, I'll be done in 5 minutes. Look, this is it. That's all. Because, you know what?
Yes,
Because
there's
you
a
know.
few things that have to be in the minutes, and that's, we do the minimum, it's like who made the motion and what the vote was, right? And what the outcome
You
was.
have to you have to do the.
I have a
simple.
spreadsheet, it's a mail merge, I can
The
do it as
address,
a
the
mail merge,
name.
it's just,
rote doing it over and over and how many we have, and keeping
And the
track
more
of
you do
it.
that, the more we'll never get a secretary. Keep that in mind. That's your business, but keep it in mind.
Because,
Because,
unfortunately, I'm not the secretary this time, so I feel like it's my obligation to make sure we have, votes recorded in 48 hours and minutes posted in 7 days, like that's
true.
what
That
we're
really,
supposed to do.
that really isn't your job. You're taking it on, out of the goodness of your heart.
I don't know, as a secretary, that's not,
Well, then why
that
do
is
you
your
have two
responsibility.
secretaries? It isn't your responsibility. That part of it is somebody else's.
No,
that they don't have.
they are just, they're like the minute keeper or whatever, they're not technically a member of the board. So it's really not their responsibility.
Then why do they get paid $35 an hour?
They get paid more than that.
$35 an hour.
$100 a meeting, $150 a meeting.
My son would be
To
interested.
write,
I'm telling you.
Wouldn't be accurate,
Actually,
but.
I asked my brother to do it. I was like, you can do it, before I saw the job description. The job description is extensive. If you saw that job description, you would never think.
I know, I remember I kept
You saw
asking
that?
for it,
Yeah,
I kept asking
like-
for it.
Because my
And
brother,
then it came, and I was like, damn.
my brother said he would do it. He's like, I could do that. I'm like, yeah, you could use some extra money. You're retired. Why not?
Why don't
And
you
then
do
we saw
that?
And he's like,
Why don't you
Other years I
charge
did
them
it.
for the, what?
Other years, I
Charge
did
them
the minutes
for-
for, like, when Kathy was away for a week, I did the minutes.
charge.
That's what you should do.
During the 6:30.
I think that that's
Yeah.
fair, charge them for that time.
Yeah, because when I saw that
Yes,
list of what's supposed to
why?
be
Why
done,
not?
I was
Obviously,
like,
someone will comment for the ethics commission.
what's going to call you for that? I mean, you're doing, you're the secretary.
Whatever, we'll figure it out.
I mean, it's not is it a permanent position?
No.
It's a temporary
Yeah.
position.
Well, I should say it's probably seasonal, because you would
It's
still
a
do it the
seasonal
following year or
position.
whatever. It could be called temporary, yeah,
Make $1,000.
yeah. And like I said, I was gonna have my brother do it,
100%.
when I saw it was on that list, that thing, I'm like,
Absolutely.
he's never gonna do all this, there's no way. I actually said to, Jen Carpenter, called her and I said, I thought I had somebody for this, but, when I saw that job description, I was like, he's not gonna do that. And to tell you the truth, I've never seen all that work done anyway in all the years I've been on the board. What did you get this from? She didn't get
Can
it.
you send it to me, the job?
If I have it, if I can find it in my email tomorrow, I will send it to you. If not, I'll have
You have
Jen resend it to me so we can have a
Yeah, I'd like to
review.
see what they're actually asking.
Yeah, 'cause I sent it out, didn't I send it out to everyone in my,
I think you did.
in my company?
Yeah.
In my Sotheby's office,
Yep.
to see if anyone knew someone. Someone actually thought they did.
Yeah, but then,
I don't know what happened.
I mean, our minutes are not that hard, you just have to get the vote, it's technical,
I think
it's
you
not a
should
lot
be
of
paid
dialogue.
for your time, I really do.
the deliberation
I'm not
is a little bit
joking.
more.
I really do.
And I think the thing
What's the
about,
difference, whether
the problem with it was that while you're trying to deliberate and vote and pay attention, it's hard to take the minutes. I think that's why we had that extra person, to make it easier. It's different than other boards.
Yeah,
So-
and someone to turn on the equipment and make sure everything gets recorded and turned off and
I think you have two different hats. You
Yeah,
clock
I
in
believe
when
it.
you're doing
See, the problem, and the
her
other problem
work
I
and
have
you
with it, Kathleen, if you
old
want to
work
do it,
and you
go right
clock
ahead.
in when you're
But the problem I have
listening
with
to
it is that
hearings.
once you do that, they're never gonna find anybody.
I don't think they're gonna find anybody this year for us, honestly.
No, they're not gonna find anybody
Right,
this year.
and
They'll
then
just
you
say,
gotta-
oh, they'll do it, they know they have to do it, they'll do it again next year.
And then you gotta train it.
Yeah.
They'll do it again next year, so.
Or else you gotta go correct it all, and sometimes it
Yeah.
takes more to correct it.
Which
than
is
it
more
does.
of a reason to get
Which is more
charged.
work.
I know, but anyway,
Yeah.
so we're still recording, and we're,
Did we,
Our
we
meeting's
talked about having a last
a last meeting. So when you wanna do the end of March, so we can.
we said that you needed a
Make sure
week,
it's just enough time that we
so it's
made our
the
deadline.
27th.
for the first.
How's the 27th?
Looks good to me, that's a
What day of the week is that?
It's a Wednesday.
I just wanna make sure that something isn't gonna be left where we end up going over, because we can't just go over into the next month, we have to finish.
5,
Yes, Wednesday the 27th.
Okay.
So that gives us, and our last deliberation might be the 19th, so that gives us a full
Okay.
week. And I'm not gonna cancel anything until, I'll
Yeah,
cancel
don't
Monday
cancel
the
anything until-
4th, because we're not doing the
And you
4th.
can't do the, you can cancel the other ones too, what are we not doing? We're
And
not
the
doing
rest of the
4th,
daytime ones.
Right, we're not doing the
Assuming
11th
we
or
can get them
12th.
all in, but I don't wanna, they'll get their letters, they're like, oh, could I do next week, I'm in Florida, could you,
Yeah, so somebody, I gotta remember, somebody wants to be done before the 7th. They requested that, I don't remember who it was.
Well, if we're doing them all on the 5th and 6th, it shouldn't
Should
be
be
a
okay,
problem, but.
yep, so
yeah.
make sure she gets done in the beginning.
Mm.
Okay.
okay.
Are
All
we
right, do we
good?
have any other business? No? I make a
So we set
motion.
our schedule, transact any other business?
Yep, no other business, I make a motion that we adjourn. All in
What
favor?
time is it? Name the time for the.
Second. 6:55.
6:56. The meeting is adjourned at 6:56. It was unanimous.